Abandoned places with the creepiest untold stories you never knew existed. Introduction. The allure of the forgotten. There's something undeniably captivating about the forgotten places of the world. Those that were once alive with activity, laughter, and movement, now silenced and left to rot in time. It's almost as though the very fabric of these places absorbs the energy of the people who once inhabited them, leaving behind something far more sinister than just stone and mortar. Step into the forgotten corners of the world with me as we uncover the eerie stories of abandoned places where time has stopped, but something else, something darker, lingers. These are places no one talks about, save for the whispering rumors, chilling ghost stories, and unexplained phenomena that seem to surround them. Are you ready? Let's walk through the gates of the unknown. The Waverly Hills Sanatorium, USA. The unrelenting ghosts of the dying. In the rolling hills of Kentucky, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium looms over the land like a forgotten cathedral of despair. Built in 1910, this grand structure was once home to tuberculosis patients, a place where the dying were sent in search of salvation. But what it became was far from the hope it promised. The facility's history is tainted with suffering. Patients were isolated from their families, treated with methods that ranged from questionable to downright horrific. With tuberculosis claiming lives at an alarming rate, Waverly Hills became a graveyard of forgotten souls. But the worst was yet to come. Beneath the building, a dark tunnel, dubbed the body chute, was used to secretly transport the bodies of the dead to avoid alarming the remaining patients. It is said that many never saw their loved ones again, as the bodies were carried out in secrecy. Now, the abandoned halls of Waverly Hills are filled with more than just the remnants of time. Visitors report strange, otherworldly sensations. A sudden drop in temperature, the unmistakable feeling of being watched, and even whispers in the empty rooms. But what truly sends chills down the spine are the apparitions that appear in the corner of one's eye, only to vanish when looked at directly. One night, a group of paranormal investigators stayed in the sanatorium, hoping to capture evidence of the spirits that linger. As they explored the long-abandoned halls, they heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing in the distance. When they turned a corner, they saw nothing but shadows. But in the silence, a voice, soft and pleading, whispered, "Help me." Belitz Heilstätten, Germany. The ghosts of the fallen soldiers. In the dense forests of Germany, far from the well-trodden tourist paths, lies the abandoned Belitz Heilstätten Sanatorium. Once a grand tuberculosis hospital, this site took a dark turn during World War II when it was converted into a military hospital, tending to the wounded soldiers of the Third Reich. Among them was a young Adolf Hitler, who was treated here after being wounded in battle. The war left its mark, both physically and spiritually. After the soldiers left, so too did the whispers of the tormented souls who never left. Years of war, death, and the suffering of countless patients have soaked into these decaying walls. And it's said that some of those spirits still walk the grounds, lost and angry. One night, a group of urban explorers ventured into the ruins, captivated by the eerie beauty of the place. As they made their way through the corridors, they heard what they first thought were faint footsteps, but no one else was there. Then, in one of the long-abandoned rooms, they spotted movement from the corner of their eyes. A figure, clothed in tattered military garb, stood in the doorway. When they turned to face it, the figure vanished into thin air. The explorers ran, but the sensation of being watched never left. Nara Dreamland, Japan. the ghostly echoes of lost dreams. In the heart of Japan, a forgotten theme park stands still, its colorful attractions once brimming with laughter and joy, now faded and rusted. Nara Dreamland, which opened its gates in 1961, was modeled after Disneyland in California, a place where families could experience the magic of Disney in Japan. However, the park's dreams were short-lived, and by 2006, it closed its gates for good. The decay began almost immediately. Yet what was left behind was something much more unsettling than an empty amusement park. Visitors who have dared to step inside Nara Dreamland's decaying attractions speak of eerie sounds that seem to come from nowhere. Laughter, children's voices, and the unmistakable sound of carnival music floating through the air, even though the rides are long gone. One brave soul ventured onto the Ferris wheel, hoping to capture a photo of the park's decrepitude, only to have the wheel begin to turn on its own. The figure who stood atop it was eerily silhouetted in the moonlight, a face that couldn't be seen. Many believe the spirits of those who once came to Nara Dreamland never truly left, their laughter still echoing between the empty roller coasters and broken games. Pripyat Amusement Park, Ukraine. The ride that was never taken. In the shadow of the Chernobyl disaster lies the ghost town of Pripyat, a place that was once thriving with life before the nuclear catastrophe. Abandoned almost overnight, the town stands as a time capsule frozen in 1986. Among the eerie remnants of everyday life sits a Ferris wheel, never used by the children who were meant to enjoy it. The amusement park of Pripyat was scheduled to open on May 1st, 1986. But just days before its grand unveiling, disaster struck. The Chernobyl nuclear plant exploded and the town was evacuated. The park never saw a single child on its rides. As time went on, the once vibrant town decayed, and the spirits of the evacuated residents, those who were exposed to radioactive fallout, are said to haunt the site. Tourists who venture into the desolate town report hearing laughter in the distance, even though no one is around. Others claim to have seen figures standing by the Ferris wheel, watching them from afar, as if waiting for the ride to finally begin. Six Flags, New Orleans. The ghosts of Hurricane Katrina. In New Orleans, amidst the ruins of what was once a thriving city, stands Six Flags New Orleans, a place that was swallowed whole by the fury of Hurricane Katrina. The storm tore through the city in 2005, and with it, Six Flags was abandoned. But it wasn't just the park that was lost that day. Many believe the souls of those who perished in the floodwater still haunt the desolate grounds of the park. As night falls, the once vibrant rides, now rusted and silent, seem to come alive in the breeze. Some visitors have reported hearing the unmistakable sound of children laughing as though the park had never closed. Others say they have seen shadowy figures standing atop the Ferris wheel, which no longer moves, watching the land below as if waiting for the storm to come again. Conclusion: the shadows that linger. Each of these abandoned places holds its own story, of lives lost, of hopes shattered, and of tragedies that have left their mark on the world. Whether it's the ghosts of those who died in pain, the spirits of those who perished too soon, or the unexplained phenomena that refuse to die, these locations will continue to be haunted long after the last visitor leaves. But perhaps the real question is, do the spirits of the past truly haunt these abandoned places? Or are we merely hearing echoes of the darkness that was left behind? The mystery remains unsolved, waiting for those brave enough to step into the forgotten realms where the untold stories still linger. This is just the start of the chilling journey through these haunted, abandoned places. The rest of the story can continue as we explore even more eerie locations. Let me know if you'd like me to proceed with more stories.